Hello everyone, welcome back from the winter break. I hope you had a lovely holiday. And now that classes are getting started again, we are also back with some more fun performing arts videos for you. This month, for the month of January, we have chosen the theme of classics. And so, for Dance Week, we're going to go with a very classical style of dance, ballet. For this video, I'm going to be wearing my ballet shoes, but you can also do this in socks or bare feet, and that'll be totally fine as well. So in ballet, we usually work in what's called turnout. You might have seen photos of ballerinas with their feet cranked out to the sides. What we need to make sure is that you're doing this safely and you're not doing this in a way that's going to injure yourself. Because if you do it wrong, it can be really bad for your knees and feet and ankles and legs. So you actually want to be turning out from the top of your leg and from your glutes. So you're going to think about taking your whole leg and rotating the entirety of the leg sideways. So it shouldn't be just cranking your toes out, but rather your whole leg rotates. And then you can tuck it back underneath you and do the same thing on the other side. You can hold onto a bar or wall to help you keep your balance. You stick your leg forward and then coming from the upper thigh and glute, rotate that leg out so everything is sideways, not just your feet, but your knees, your inner thighs facing forward. And put it down. Now don't focus on getting your toes all the way out to the side. That's not the most important thing. They can be more in like a 90-degree V shape, and that's totally okay. And to make sure that you're maintaining this position, you're really going to want to think about squeezing, rotating with your thighs, squeezing your glutes to keep this position, and making sure that your knees are always facing over your toes, so that everything is aligned. So we're going to take a minute to talk about feet in ballet. So I've showed you turnout position, but point is also a really important part of ballet and pointing our feet. So naturally relaxed, our feet are kind of more like this. When we fully bring them all the way up, we call that a flexed foot. So you're keeping this as flat as possible. Your toes are pointing straight out. This would be kind of our position standing, right? Because you've got the floor and then you're standing straight up. This is a flexed foot. But whenever our feet come off the floor in ballet, we want to do what's called a pointed foot. And that's when our feet are stretched and they add to the nice long line of our legs, one long line. So when we're pointing our feet, we want to make sure we're not just scrunching our toes like this. It's not about squeezing your toes in, but actually elongating your feet. It's almost like your feet are reaching over top of something that's in front of you. So imagine that there's something against your heel and the arch of your foot is going over top of that thing, and then the toes are pressing down, not just towards the floor, but also out forward. So they're still not scrunched in, they're pressing forward. They're a nice long line. So same thing. Heel comes and it goes over and down. And this is the pointed foot position. When we're standing up, we can have the same thing. Again, you can see that as I'm standing, I am here with a flexed foot. But as my feet come off the ground, I'm going to try and point my foot. And again, I don't want to scrunch. I want to lift, so it's a nice long, straight line down my leg, stretching my toes down towards the floor. Or if I was to stretch out to the side, a nice long line, elongating my foot. Same thing going forward. Nice long line reaching out. When we're dancing, and we're dancing in flat ballet shoes, or here we're going to be doing what would be called demi-point when we're going up. So that's rising on the balls of our feet like this. So we're up, but you can see we're not quite in that position of a full pointed foot, because standing on top of the toe of your foot like this is not really possible all on its own. So we go to just the whole ball of our foot, and that's what's called demi-point. Professional ballerinas that you see performing will have what's called point shoes that allow them to stand in positions that are all the way up here. But if you're not trained, that can be incredibly dangerous and really harmful to your body. And so for the most part, if you are not a professional ballerina, you are working only on demi-point. For ballet, when you're warming up, we usually use something called a bar to help support us as we warm up. If you don't have one, because who has one at home, you can use the wall or you can use a chair. So often the first exercise that you would start with in a ballet class is something called a plie. Now, for those those of you who are bilingual, as many of us at Glendon are, the nice thing about ballet terminology is that it's all based on French. So plie, to bend, it's literally just bending our knees. So we're going to start with demi-pliés, which are smaller bends, where you just bend your knees and then stretch. And as you bend these knees over your toes is where you want them to go. They should not be rolling forward because that's causing a twist in the alignment of your legs where your knees are going in a different direction, and that's really bad for your knees. So making sure you're holding that whole leg turned out so your knees go straight over your toes. If you can't do that, bring your feet a little narrower. Turn them in a little bit. And then we also have what's called a grand plié, which of course is bigger than a demi-plié. And so you're going to bend your knees a lot more. Make sure your butt doesn't go all the way to the floor. You're still supporting yourself, but you're bending much farther down and then coming back up. And we can do these pliés in multiple positions. So we're going to do them in what's called ballet first, ballet second, and ballet third. So this position that we're standing in right now, where I had you just turn out your toes and your heels are together, this is called ballet first. Now, if you take one leg and step it out to the side slightly. So now my heels are maybe shoulder width apart. And again, still my toes pointing slightly out and my knees are still pointing out in that direction. Holding that turnout so I'm not injuring myself. This is ballet second. And I can do demi-pliés and grand pliés here. Same thing, knees going over my toes, and grand plié. Make sure your butt does not go below those knees. And then we can also do this in ballet third. Ballet third is where I'm going to take my front foot and I'm going to tuck the heel of my foot into the arch of my other foot. So like my feet are making a T shape. And again, same thing, make sure your legs are holding their turnout, and you can do the same thing. A demi-plié, knees going over your toes, or a grand plié. When you are doing a grand plié in third or in first, naturally your heels are going to want to come off the floor, and that's okay, they're supposed to. You're not going to be able to bend your knees a lot more than this before your heels start to pop up off the floor. Just make sure that as you come back up, they're pushing back down onto the ground. Same thing in third. When they need to, the heels will pop up, and then you push them back down. In second, because you're a little bit wider, they shouldn't need to do that. So you can keep your heels on the floor the whole time. In demi-plié, you shouldn't need to take your heels off the floor. You're only going part way down, so not far enough that you would need to take those heels off the ground. Another common thing that we might see in ballet is what's called a relevé. I'm sure you've all, talked about ballet dancers going up on their toes. So we go up on what's called demi-pointe, which is just the ball of your foot. It's like walking on your tiptoes. So you're just going to lift your heels up into the air so you're standing on just your toes. You want to make sure that your toes are as spread out as possible when you do this to help hold your balance. You don't want to squeeze them together, you want to spread them out. And then you're going to rise up. And that's called a relevé, up onto demi-pointe. And then you come down. And again, you can do this rise in any position. And you want to make sure that you're keeping your ankles nice and strong so that you're not wobbling about. You're holding onto it nice and tight. It also helps if you're squeezing all of your muscles. So ankles, thighs, abs, keeping your shoulders in line, keeping everything nice and secure so you're not wobbling about. And of course you can use the bar or your wall or your chair or whatever it is you're using to help you hold your balance. And that's the whole point of the bar. The bar is teaching us how to hold positions and helping us build those muscles before we then go do them without the bar. To travel between positions, we don't usually just step, but we're going to do something called a tendu, which is where you stretch your leg to the next position. So if I'm standing in first, I have my heels together, again, holding that turnout with my whole leg, so I've got my knees lined at the same angle as my toes. I'm going to stretch my feet out to the side, and I'm going to point my toe. So I'm reaching, and I'm going to lead with my toe. My toe reaches out to the side, and I get a pointed foot and a nice straight leg. And then I can put my whole foot on the floor and shift my weight to be standing in second. So that's called a tendu, and then you lower into second position. Then, if you wanted to come back to first or over into third where your feet are together again, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to shift your weight over onto this leg and point this foot. So there's no more weight on it. It's just a nice straight foot and straight leg with pointed toes. And then I would slowly pull it in, this time leading with my heel and dragging my heel into the position I want, either into third or back into first. So now we can put all of that together. I know that that was a lot. We've got demi-pliés, we've got grand pliés, we've got relevés, and we've got tendus, and changing of positions, where we can do these in the 3 different positions that we've learned. Ballet first, ballet second, and ballet third. So using the bar, and usually this is easiest if you're holding onto the bar, you can do it with both hands. And we're going to start in ballet first. I'm going to angle myself this way so you can see a little better. And we're going to do demi-plié and stretch. Demi-plié and stretch. And we're going to go all the way down into a grand plié, and it's going to take twice as long. Grand plié and stretch. Then we're going to rise and hold it up there and come down, and then we're going to move to the next position. So we tendu out to the side and then lower into second position. Then you're going to do the same thing, same pattern. Demi-plié, keep those knees over your toes, stretch. Demi-plié, stretch. Going into a grand plié. This time the heels don't come off the floor, come up. Then we rise and hold, come down. Then I shift my weight and tendu, and I'm going to pull into third. Then I go again. Demi-plié and stretch. Demi-plié and stretch. Grand plié this time, down and up. Then I rise and hold and lower. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the other third. So I've been moving my left leg, and so my left leg is in front, and I want to do it with my right leg in front as well. So I'm going to tendu my left leg out to the side, and then I'm going to tuck it behind me. So now my left leg is in front, and so I'm taking the arch of that foot and putting it against my heel. And then I'm repeating it one more time. Demi-plié, stretch, demi-plié, stretch, all the way down. Grand plié and stretch. Then I rise up and hold, then lower. And I'm just going to tendu my leg and bring it back into first position. For balancing, I could then repeat everything on the other side. So I would be using my right leg every time I did all of the transitions. Okay, so I have found a very fun Disney ballet playlist on Spotify that I'm going to be using. So we're going to be doing this exercise to the instrumental version of Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Hands on the bar, feet are in first, heels together, hold that turn out. Bend, stretch, bend, and stretch. All the way down, and come up, and rise, and hold, and lower, and then you're going to take your leg out to second with a tendu. And here we go again. Down, and stretch, just a demi, demi, and stretch. Now grand plié. Keep those heels over your toes, come up, and lift your heels up, hold it, and down, and now you're going to tendu that leg and pull it into third. Here we go again. bend, just to a demi stretch. Bend, stretch. All the way down, come up. And rise and hold. Come down, tendu that leg out, and put it behind you in third now. And bend and stretch. Bend and stretch. Grand-plié down. Up. And rise. Hold it. Come down. And tendu. And come back to first. Excellent. Now we're going to elaborate a little bit more on the tendus that we looked at, because you can do these in any direction. And so we're going to go from first position, and we're always going to come back to this first position. So heels together, toes at your natural turnout where you can sustain it without hurting yourself. And you're going to use your toe and push that leg. We've done tendus to the side when we were transitioning positions where we stretched our foot out. This time you're going to stretch that foot, drawing a line straight out to the front. Still, that front of your thigh should be presented forward. Your heel should be pushing up towards the sky. Your toe is pointed. And from here, you're going to hold that position for a moment and then close it back in. So tendu and bring it back in. And we're going to do 4 in each direction. So you can do them front, you can do them side like we've been practicing them. You can also do them backwards. So I'm still in that first position, and now my toe is going to lead my leg out behind me. So this time my inner thigh is turned down towards the floor, sitting with my heel. My knee is facing out towards the side as much as I can, but again, keeping that whole leg in line. Don't try and twist your foot, and I'm trying to keep my hips facing forward as much as possible. I don't want to twist open like this. I'm still facing forward so that my leg is behind me, en arrière. And then, again, using that heel to bring it in and close. So, we can do tendu devant, tendu à la seconde, and tendu derrière. And when we do all 3 of these directions, we call it tendu en croix, because the pattern that it draws on the floor makes a cross position, especially when you add in the other side. So we're going to do 4 to the front. We're going to start with, I'm going to start with my left leg because it's the closest to you, but we'll start with one leg, then move to the other. So you do 4 to the front. 1 and close. 2 and close. 3 and close. 4 and close. Then same thing to the side, 4 times. 2, 3, 4. Same thing to the back. And 2, and 3, and 4. We're going to give our legs a break. We're going to demi-plie and stretch nice and slowly. We're going to rise up and lower. And then we're ready to start the other side. We go front and close 4 times. That's 4. To the side. 2, 3, 4. To the back. 2, 3, 4. Demi-plie. Stretch your legs. Rise and lower. And we're going to try this exercise to Chim Chimmery, again, an instrumental version. Ready? Forward, close. Tendu, close. Tendu, close. Tendu, close. To the side, close. Side, close. Side, close. Side, close. Back, close. for the left side. And front, in, front, in. Or right side if you start with left. Front, in, and right, down. To the side, down. And in, side, in, and back. Plie, nice and slow. Stretch your legs, rise up, and come down. Okay, so for this next exercise, we're going to move away from the bar, and we're going to do some focus on our arms, which is called port de bras, or as I'm sure many of you can translate, carrying the arms, or carriage of the arms. So it's all about the movement of our arms, because ballet is not just about your feet and your legs, it's your whole body doing movements, and so the arms are really important as well. So I showed you a couple of positions at the bar with ballet with our feet, and there are also arm positions that go along with this, and there are a few more positions that I'm going to go through as well. So we talked about ballet first, with our heels together and our toes on the floor. Now in ballet, our arms are never straight lines. They're always going to be slightly rounded. So we don't want them bent in like this, and we don't want them super straight. We want them to look soft and rounded. And so for that, I'm going to bend my elbow just slightly in, like I'm holding it around a ball. And same thing, my wrist is going to continue the curve of that line. And my fingers are going to stretch out, and I want to make sure that my thumb's not sticking out. Ballet is all about these very pretty, smooth-looking lines. So I'm going to tuck my thumb in as well. Do that on both sides. When my arms are just rounded like this, but sitting low down by my leg, this is called bras bas position. If I'm going to take my arms to first position to match my feet, I'm going to be bringing them about where my belly button would be, but still extended. So the same height as my belly button, but not squished in. Nice and round, so my arms still have that round shape. So this is first position with my arms. Now we said second position with the feet was opened up. So I have my heels about shoulder width apart. And second position with my arms is also going to open up. I'm not going to adjust the height, but both my arms are just going to open. And because of the rounded nature of my arms, they stay rounded. As you can see, I kind of look almost like a little umbrella shape here. They stay rounded. My arms are going to angle slightly downwards and slightly forwards. And it's almost like if you had, like an umbrella, things could roll down off of it. Same idea. A marble or a water droplet or something could roll down along the slope of my arm. It's a very nice, gentle, soft line. Curved line. And so this is second position. And you want to make sure that you're keeping your shoulders down and back, keeping your shoulder blades together, not popping your rib cage open, keeping that together as well, but not crushing everything inwards, and not raising your arms up like this. So this is second position. Everything is a little bit open. So then from second position, we can go into third position. You're going to bring that heel into the arch of the foot, like we talked about. And then for our arms, one arm, the arm of the back leg, is going to stay out in second position, and the other arm, the arm that goes in front, is going to come in front in where the first position was. So we have our arms halfway in first and halfway in second, and that makes third position. And when I have my left foot in front, I use my left arm in front. But if I were to go the other way, so now I have this leg behind my other arm in front, I would do third on the other side. I have the same arm as leg in front and the other arm out to the second. So these are third position, and you can do it on either side. Another position, we're not going to talk about it with the feet because it can be really, really difficult and easy to injure yourself in this position if you don't have training, so we're not going to go there with our feet. But with our arms, it's a very common position, and it's, again, the same style of arm that you had in bras bas and in first, but this time you're lifting it up over your head, but not directly over top of your head so that it forces your shoulders back. Your arm should actually be a little bit forward. If you are looking forward, you should probably still be able to see your fingers wiggle right at the top of your vision. So they are slightly forward to prevent this from happening when you push too far back. And this is called ballet fifth position. We go there a lot with our arms for a lot of different moves. This is ballet fifth. And then we can open and come back through second, or you could go up from second, or you can come in through first. Lots of different ways to get to that position. And so we're going to chain a bunch of these positions together. One more position that we're going to learn is called demi-bras. And it's halfway between about second and bras bas. So if you go to bras bas, where your arms are rounded, but they're just kind of almost touching your thighs, they're just hovering right in front. And you just open up slightly. So your arms are angling down. So they're not as high up as they would be in second, but they're not closed like they are in bras bas. They're just gently opened out. This is called demi-bras. And now we can chain all of these positions together in sequence to make a nice flowing movement for our port de bras. We're going to do this port de bras, just follow along. I'm going to call out the positions to a piano instrumental of Reflection. So we're going to start standing in first, our arms in bras bas. And float out to demi and close. Again, demi, close. Now we're going to go to first, open to second. Take a breath and float slowly down through demi-bras to first. Now we're going all the way up. First to fifth. Open to second and come down through demi-bras to bras bas. First to open, second, down through demi-bras, first. We're going to do thirds now. So first, open one arm to third, open the other arm so you're in second, come down. You go the other way, come up to first, open the other arm to third first, now to second, come down. And first, we're going to open to third. This time we're going to come back into first. We're going to come down through bras bas to demi-bras. And then do it one more time. Come through bras bas to first. Open up to third. Come back into first. Down and out to demi-bras. And just bring it back into bras bas. Okay, last little exercise we're going to do today is some sautés, some jumps. And so just a basic sauté. It's going to start and end in the same position. You're going to plie to start, you're going to jump up into the air, and you're going to land in a plie, and then stretch your legs. You want to make sure that you are pointing your toes in the air. Point, and come down. So if we're in first position, bend, stretch and point, plie, and stretch. And we're going to do a series of jumps in first. You can also do jumps in second. You can do jumps in third. You can do jumps in any position. When you are in a position where your feet are not completely equal, so one foot is in front of the other, we can also do jumps called a changement, in which you change your feet. So you bend. You're going to stretch up in the air, point your feet, but your feet are going to switch positions and land in the other direction. So it looks like this. Right? So I change where my feet are in the air. Kind of open up and then come down again. We're going to do 3 jumps and then change the position, or 3 changements, and then breathe. Okay? These seem like small jumps, but when you're thinking about stretching your legs, pointing your toes, landing in plie, all of these things, they can be really tiring. So if you need to take a break, totally get it. Also, it's very important to remember when you are jumping that there's more impact on your legs. So we are still turned out, and we need to make sure that we're holding that turnout through our legs, and our knees are landing over top of our toes every single time we land in our plie, so that they're not twisting in with extra impact. They are going straight over top. So make sure that they're nice and controlled, so you're not going to hurt yourself. And if you can, one more thing to think about, arms. You want to hold them in a nice steady position. Now, with so much to think about, It's usually easiest if you just put your hands on your hips when you're learning jumps, but if you want an extra challenge, you can try holding them in first or bras bas for the entire time, but they probably will get tired, so I suggest keeping your hands on your hips like I'm going to do, just so you can focus on the legs. Sautés to the bare necessities. Bend, jump, bend, stretch, bend, jump, bend, stretch, bend, jump, bend, stretch, 2 seconds. Bend, jump, bend, stretch, bend, jump, bend, stretch, bend, jump, bend, stretch. Tandu back to first again. Bend, jump, bend, stretch, bend, jump, bend, stretch, bend, jump, bend, stretch, 2 seconds. And bend, jump, bend, stretch, bend, jump, bend, stretch, bend, jump, bend, stretch. Back to third. Bend, change, bend, bend, change, bend, bend, change, bend, and breathe. Here we go. Bend, change, bend, bend, change, bend, bend, change, bend. Breathe 2 more times. And bend, change, and bend, change, bend, bend, change, bend. Breathe, last one. Bend, change, breathe, bend, change, bend, change, and breathe. Nicely done. So that's an introduction to some of the basics of ballet. There's lots more fun stuff that you can learn. There's lots of beginner ballet tutorials on YouTube, adult classes you can take, etc. So feel free to check out more if you enjoyed this. Hello, Busy. There's even a step, it's very fitting. I'm doing ballet, there's a step called pas de chat. Yeah. Busy? Can you pas de chat? Like this, Busy? Probably not. It doesn't look very cat-like, huh? You gonna stay out here and dance with me, Busy? For those of you curious, a pas de chat is a jump in which you pick up one foot and bring it up into what would be considered a retiré position. So knee bent, toe coming up to where the other knee is, and then you're going to switch. The other toe comes up to where the knee would be, and then you come down. But this all happens kind of in one jump. So you pick it up, jump and switch, and come down. But you want it to happen a little more fluidly in the air. Up, up, down, down. And again, of course, plie. Point those feet, land in plie. This is not an easy move, but you're welcome to give it a try if you'd like. Can also be done in the other direction. And usually, whichever foot starts behind, you'll start in a third position, and whichever foot starts behind will end in front.